Obviously, the biggest story in the world of movie news for the last couple of weeks has been the pending purchase of Warner Brothers and the current ongoing bidding war there seems to be for it, with Netflix having won the bidding war. But, it ain't over till it's over. Paramount is still trying to get it. Netflix seems pretty confident they're going to end up with it, but we'll see how that turns out. But you guys remember, for me, in the early days of Warner Brothers announcing they were putting themselves up for sale, I said that the worst possible scenario was Netflix getting it. And I explained why. Now, I also said, now look, if Netflix says they'll let Warner Brothers continue to exist as its own entity and that they will be committed to theatrical releases, that will soften my position. Well, what happened after that was Netflix did come out and say, Warner Brothers is still going to continue to exist as a standalone studio, and we are going to continue to put them out theatrically. But does he mean it? I'm not sure what he has to gain by lying about that, but does he mean it? Well, there's a new development in this where they are now really doubling down on that. As a matter of fact, even going a little bit further. A letter was sent out by Ted Sarandos to all the employees of Netflix just to kind of confirm and clarify everything that's happening with the Warner Brothers takeover and what that would mean. There's a couple of interesting things I want us to touch on here. This comes to us from Cord Cutter News that writes, the letter shared by Business Insider reiterates Netflix's commitment to releasing Warner Brothers films in theaters, writing, we haven't prioritized theatrical in the past because that wasn't our business at Netflix. When this deal closes, we will be in that business. And now, of course, we heard him kind of say something like that a little bit earlier. Peters and Sarandos told employees that they don't intend for this deal to mean the end of movie studios in favor of streaming, promising no overlap or studio disclosures. Now, let's go to the actual quote from the letter itself. Where it is, where did it go? Will we preserve the theatrical releases as a part of Warner Brothers distribution model? Yes! This is the letter itself. We're fully committed to releasing Warner Brothers movies in theaters just as they do it today. Theatrical is an important part of their business and legacy, and we don't want to change what makes Warner Brothers so valuable. If this deal had happened 2 years ago, again, he's given this analogy before, hits like Minecraft and Superman would still have premiered on the big screen as they did, and that's how we plan to keep it. We haven't prioritized theatrical in the past because that wasn't our business at Netflix. But when this deal closes, we're going to own Warner Brothers, and we will be in that business. All right, so two big things kind of stand out to me here. Number one is, again, the redoubling down, saying, look, we are going to keep Warner Brothers theatrical, not because we're going to be nice to the people who want it to stay theatrical. We're keeping it theatrical because that's what makes them valuable. We're not going to take Warner Brothers and try to make it a part of Netflix. Netflix is Netflix. We didn't prioritize theatrical there because that isn't what Netflix is. But we're not suddenly going to make Warner Brothers a streaming company, HBO Max notwithstanding, because that's not what Warner Brothers is. What makes them valuable is theatrical. We've never been in the theatrical business, and we didn't want to with Netflix. But now we are in the theatrical business because that is Warner Brothers. I'm not going to lie to you. If Netflix ends up winning this whole thing, I'm very happy to hear that. The second thing that's pretty interesting to me is, no matter who gets Warner Brothers, whenever there's a merger, let's look back at when Disney bought 20th Century. You get one big movie studio buying another big movie studio. Well, now all of a sudden you have a bunch of redundant jobs. You head of PR. Well, we have a head of PR over Disney and a head of PR. We don't need two. We don't need two of this and two of that. And what happens as a result of these mergers is, while definitely not all of them, but thousands of people end up getting laid off. One of the most interesting quotes to me in this letter that Sarandos said to the Netflix employees was that there was going to, quote, be no overlap. He didn't say not a ton of overlap. He said there's going to be no overlap. Again, because Netflix is a streaming company, Warner Brothers is a theatrical motion picture company. They both do a little bit more than that, but that's the general gist. Now, I don't believe for a second that means that if Netflix does end up buying Warner Brothers, then that means that there will be zero layoffs. But Rob, what I take away from it is that the scale of layoffs we're accustomed to seeing once one company merges with another large company, I don't think we're going to get that. I do expect some layoffs, but it sounds like when he's emphasizing there's no overlap, well, then there's no redundant positions. There's no things that need to be pared back. Again, I'm expecting some, but my guess it'll be in the dozens rather than in the thousands. That's my guess, as opposed to if Paramount gets it. And again, listen, I think there are upsides to Paramount getting it, but if Paramount gets it, that is a primarily big theatrical studio buying another primarily big theatrical studio. There's going to be a ton of overlap and there's going to be a ton of layoffs. With Netflix, I'm suspecting there's not going to be as many. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, Aura. Guys, if you are anything like me, you swear every year you're going to be on top of your Christmas shopping, and then suddenly it's December 20th, the shelves are empty, and you're standing around in Target asking yourself, does my aunt even like candles? But this year, I am not doing that because of Aura Frames. It's completely saved me. See, I always struggled with what to get people in my life, but this year I'm going to give out a couple of Aura Frames, and it's hands down the most personal, meaningful gift that I can possibly give. And here's the best part. Aura lets you upload unlimited photos and videos. Plus, the frame comes in a premium gift box with no price tag, so it feels like a classy, well thought out gift, even if you bought it last minute. Guys, you can't gift wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. So for a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames named #1 by Wirecutter by using promo code CAMPEA at the checkout. That's auraframes.com, promo code Campea. This deal is exclusive to our listeners and frames sell out fast. So order yours now to get it in on time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning that we sent you at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Anyway, Rob, you read through this letter. What points are standing out to you the most and what are you taking away from it?
Well, like you, I'm very happy to hear this. Warner Brothers has already been stripped down to the bone. There's not a lot of fat there. And I don't think there really is a lot of redundancy because it is primarily focused on theatrical and to a certain extent home video and of course HBO. I think it's great to hear this. I think Ted Sarandos is, again, it sounds good. You know, let's see how it plays out.
Good. Yeah.
If this merger actually goes through, let's see how it plays out in year 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's see. I mean, I hate to say it, but the big variable here is the theatrical marketplace itself. The theatrical marketplace itself must stay healthy and robust. Now, right now, when you have movies like Zootopia 2 burning up the charts and Avatar opening this weekend.
And 2026 looking very promising.
And knowing that we have genre films like, who thought Five Nights at Freddy 2 would make $100 million? I guess
Weapons would do as well as it
Weapons did $250 million on a $38 million spend. Fantastic. And as long as this kind of stuff is happening and the theatrical marketplace stays a robust place to release films, it stands there. It's marketing for Netflix on whatever goes out, and then Netflix gets all of their theatrical, and they also, which I think is great, what I'd like to see happen is Netflix make a concerted effort to take Warner Brothers catalog pre-1960 and not just Wizard of Oz or Casablanca or any of those things, but all of their movies, all of the musicals they own, the westerns they own, and make sure that they have a second life because they're doing a wonderful job restoring these films, but the only people that see them are the people who bought them on Warner Archive, and they're doing such a great job over there, and they've got a robust and a deep catalog. And the thing is, you know, it's like watching Gen Z go discover records that were made in the 60s and listen to them and react. I think a lot of people would have a lot of fun with this massive catalog that Warner Brothers has that goes all the way back to the 20s that nobody is seeing because you can't. It doesn't exist anywhere. But if Netflix said, here's our classic, Warner Brothers brings you classic cinema from the dawn of the era. I mean, you've got 60 years of incredible movies that you could barely see. And I'd like to see, and Netflix, all they have to do is put it up on servers.
Well, listen, I completely believe that's part of what they see the value in Warner Brothers is doing that. Now, listen, this is not to say that Warner Brothers won't have any changes. Like Netflix, we talked about that report the other day that Netflix plans on taking, for instance, DC's streaming shows, and instead of having them be on HBO Max, they want to take those and directly put them on Netflix. So there is going to be some cross-pollination there, but it sounds like for the most part, maybe no redundancy. And if that's the case, that's really good. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this? I am admittedly softening more and more on the idea of Netflix getting their hands on Warner Brothers. My first choice is still for Warner Brothers to stay completely independent, but that's probably not going to happen. Anyway, whatever you guys take away from it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.